All right, welcome. It's 10 o'clock, so we'll get started here. We're at the 2026 Hygienic Component Solutions Catalog New Products Overview webinar. My name is Pete Barrie. I'm the Director of Product and Marketing with Sani-Matic, and we're here today to go through the 2026 new catalog products. Just a quick thank you. Appreciate your time. Know everyone is very busy these days with a lot of activity going on, so we appreciate your time here. Before we get into agenda and a little housekeeping things, just a couple slides on a quick recap of our 2024-2025 updates. If you have not joined the catalog webinar in the past, we do update our catalog yearly about this time. So the new catalog came out later February, and each year we have a handful of new products and new informational additions to our catalog. So 24-25, a couple busy years. Made trap strainer, spare parts kits. We added the angle line strainer drain sample port option for our angle line. You can put a sample valve or a cap port on that. We are selling our slip collars if you're looking for a hygienic process connection to weld in. We sell those now loose ship. We added our high purity products, so we'll go through the catalog section in a minute here, but our high purity is more for our pharmaceutical end users, and now we have a whole section for things like our high purity HALB strainer, our hygienic spray deflector, some directionally drilled sprays, some vents, process components like that. We do have also small sections at the back on process tanks. So Sani-Matic does build loop ship tanks for CIP or other process. So we added some information on that on standard sizes, as well as our newer digital process recorder. So if you're using any sort of paper chart recorders, the DPR or digital process recorder is a good option for a electronic cloud-based reporting option upgrade from a paper chart recorder. And then 25, more recently, we added a couple new options for our Y strainers, one of them being hot water jackets. So if you do have any products, applications like chocolate that you are straining out and need to flow through hot water to keep it up to temperature, that's a great option for that. We revamped our sample valve offering, so a new lower cost, higher temperature offering. They're shown as the 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch tri-clamp sample valve, but we do have some larger sizes there on the process side. We did add a new static sprayable option, so a generic pattern 270 up. So those are good for more simple tanks. So if you need to just clean with some cascading sidewall, but maybe don't have any agitators down below, those are good options for those type of applications. And then we added a bunch of technical information, dimensional information, as well as a new Tanko GC flush mount spray there. So if you have any interest on any of these, I do have the slides in the attachment handouts, and all of those blue links will take you right to that section of the catalog there. So today's agenda, we will go through the new catalog, just a quick overview of the table of contents, talk about the layout and some of the products we have. And then we'll go into some of the new topics here, MicroPerf strainer overlays and underlays. Excited to talk about those. A good alternative to mesh overlays if you've used those in the past. We have a new biofilm sensor, great product there, and new COP basket, new Y strainer hammer handle option, excuse me, a new ultra capacity angle line chill guard strainer, so a specific industrial application for those strainers, but we'll walk through those. And then IOM manual access, we have those linked now throughout the catalog. And then some other new options, passivation options, differential pressure kits, some more technical information added to the catalog as well. And then we'll take a look at the catalog itself on the digital version, so show you some of the features in there. At the end, we will have a Q&A. So just a couple housekeeping things before we jump in. I mentioned the handouts. Right now, the handout in there is the slide deck, a PDF of this presentation. So you can go through, and as I showed the first couple slides, there's a bunch of links in there. You can jump to the products as we go through the new stuff. There's links in there. At the end, there's some links for if you have any RFQs or questions, you can send that in as well too. So feel free to grab that PDF and view it and share it with others. I mentioned on the handouts, so we don't have a digital, or I should say PDF version of the catalog in the handouts. We recommend people go to the web link. It is linked a lot throughout the catalog, and if you go to our website, you'll see it a bunch of different places. So the digital version has a lot of added features for embedded videos and links and things like that. So we try to direct people to that. All right, so we'll jump into it. Just to orient those maybe more new to the catalog. So we did revamp and readjust the catalog a couple years ago now. We do have 4 different sections here. The biggest section and kind of the meat and potatoes of the catalog is what we call our hygienic components. So those are everything from a lot of different strainer options: straight line, angle line, ALB, ultra capacity angle line chill guard. We'll talk about T-line, Y strainers, basket strainers. So a bunch of different strainer options. Our spray device offerings, so that includes our static spray balls, many different customizations there, along with rotary and jet sprays, and then some additional rotary and jet sprays as well. Supply tubes, and then tank components is kind of that last section. We do have our tanker spray washers. So if you're cleaning out larger melt tanker trucks or other process hauling tanker trucks, that's towards the back. And then our newer biofilm sensors are in that section standalone as well as some other accessories. In this section, you will see at the end, there is what we call a CDP, or component documentation package section. So if you're looking for anything like material test reports or 3A certifications, or sometimes weld log, weld map, finish, weld finish notes, things like that, any sort of documentation packages, in this section, you do have to order a separate CDP. So if you go to that page 168, you can see the listings of what you get with our 3 different packages. We also added a table, so not all products you can get every package with. So if you go back to that table, you can see, hey, if I'm looking at a biofilm sensor, which package can I get there? So make sure to remember to think about that before you order anything. And then some of our certification standards that we are adhering to with our products are also listed towards that back. So these are primarily food and beverage, personal care, and nutraceutical oriented, a little bit of industrial as well too. I mentioned earlier, we did break out our high purity hygienic component section a couple of years ago, and had some miscellaneous data sheets, and now all of that is in the catalog. So high purity angle line basket strainers, directionally drilled spray assemblies, and then some tank components as well. So these, if you're in more high purity industries like pharmaceuticals and biotech, these are probably the good place to start. If you don't find something here, you can look in the other sections of the catalog and customize to meet your needs. The one note here is that the CDP offering is a little bit different. So these components are, the packages for documentation are included and specified in the section 2. So if you're getting a high purity angle line basket strainer, you're going to get all the bells and whistles from a documentation package standpoint. And then the last 2 sections, I mentioned our digital process recorder. We have a couple pages on that as a digital solution. And then our process equipment section just has our process tanks with our standard sizes and standard specifications, along with some of the options that we do there. So jumping into the new products here, first and foremost, we have our new MicroPerf overlays and underlays. So I have a sample here too, and you see some of the pictures here, but high level, the MicroPerf is an overlay for our angle line or straight line strainers, or an underlay for our ALB or high purity ALB strainers. And if you use a perforated core, in this case, I got a 1/4 inch here, you can put the overlay or underlay on and do some finer straining. So if you are familiar with mesh overlays, and I've used those in the past, these are basically a mesh overlay, but it's much more hygienic. So you can see the 3A authorization there. These are 3A certified. So if you're using a perf element and you use the MicroPerf overlay, it's going to maintain the 3A certification. From a construction standpoint, it is perforated holes, very small perforated holes. And you can see the 4 sizes that we do there, 024 all the way up through 050. The one I'm holding here for reference is an 024, so you can see roughly the size on that. So like I said, construction of that is hygienic, and if you're used to mesh overlays where you get a lot of design construction, those are kind of cross overlaid and not as hygienic and not 3A. If you're looking for something more sanitary, you can definitely go to this as an option too. A little bit easier to clean too, because it's more sanitary. You're not going to get stuff kind of stuck under some of those overlays of a mesh overlay. So a couple images here. As I was talking, you might have been looking through this, but the model key on the left here just shows how it's embedded within our product model key. So if you're specifying a new strainer, you're going to see it under that element type size as an M, and then the 3-digit number for the sizing code. Right now, these all come with 1/4 inch perforated elements, and for the angle line and straight line strainers, we are selling them as what we call combos or combinations. So it's a real tight fit there. We want to make sure that when we're selling these MicroPerf overlays, they fit well with the element. So we're selling them both with the strainer or as a loose ship retrofit replacement. as a all-in-one combo there. So you're buying the MicroPerf overlay as well as the perf core. On the table there, you can read a little bit about it. You can see that we have short and long versions, approximate mesh size and micron sizes there too. And then bottom right is just an image of the MicroPerf. A little bit more information on MicroPerf. So as I mentioned, the overlay combos, those are for the angle line, straight line strainers, and multi-angle line strainer products. So if you go to those sections in the catalog, you'll see those combinations. On the underlays, we are selling them loose ship. That fit allows us to sell them loose ship retrofit. So if you do have an ALB strainer or a high purity ALB strainer, you're going to find the MicroPerf underlays, and you can see there, just unlike the overlay, it's an underlay that goes inside of it. Those fit existing strainers. So if you want to retrofit something in the field, you can do that. A couple of main bullets here on the right, as I mentioned, applications really just looking at if you're wanting to do finer, smaller straining. On our perforated core, we go down to 16th inch, but these come with an 8th inch just as a support core. So if you want to go smaller than that 16th inch, you can go use a perforated core along with the MicroPerf overlay. And as I mentioned, it's the best for the hygienic design crowd that you're looking for. It is 3A authorized, and if you're looking at the high purity ALB strainer, it's your best fit for ASME BP applications as well. And I did mention this next two bullets on the overlay side, available in the combinations. So it's selectable in the model key, or you can purchase that combination. So basically the combination would come as what I'm showing here. You get the perf core and you get the overlay. And that can be loose ship retrofitted with any of our existing angle line or straight line strainers. And then I mentioned the underlays are available loose ship too. We do have, I'll just go back here for a second. So those are the main four sizes that we have today. So the 024, 030, 040, and 050. We do have some other custom options available. If you're looking at Y strainers or some other strainers, we can do some custom options. So if you have any questions and are looking for other sizes or other fits within our other strainer products, feel free to contact us. Next up item here is our new biofilm sensor. So we partnered with a company called Elvim to introduce this product. It is a inline tri-clamp sensor, so it continuously monitors and detects biofilm accumulation within the process line. So you can see in the top left here, it's just a simple, about the size of a fist or so, inch-and-a-half tri-clamp connection there. That gets clamped within your process, and then as the biofilm buildup accumulates, if it does, it's going to give you back a signal. So if we're at 20 milliamp or a Modbus signal, and basically you can monitor that, as you see in the lower left here. If you're monitoring over a course of time, you're going to see a relatively consistent signal. If there's a spike in there, it's a good chance that you have that biofilm buildup. So you're either need to do some sort of CIP clean in place or biocide treatment. And you can see here in this case, biofilm came back a couple different times, so that CIP or treatment would be implemented as well too. The big advantages of this is it's obviously online and monitoring continuously. So instead of having to do spot checks or not be able to kind of see inside your process lines, you can do it online. It does discriminate between biofilm and other kinds of deposit funneling. So if you're thinking about scaling or anything else, it does have the capability to detect the biofilm itself too. Early warning detection is also a standard feature, so down to 1% of the surface coverage of the actual surface of the biofilm sensor. And obviously then it helps to optimize the cleaning CIP treatment. So depending on what applications you're doing, you might be having a standard CIP or cleaning treatment every week or every 2 weeks or some sort of set schedule. So if you do implement this, you can either monitor it and say, hey, we're starting to see biofilm growth before our set 1 week or 2 week schedule, and then do a CIP to really optimize that cleaning schedule. Or on the flip side, if you do monitor it continuously 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, and there's no biofilm growth, you could go longer between your CIP or cleaning treatments. In that case, you're spending less time cleaning, reducing your chemical cost usage, all of that good advantages there. It is virtually maintenance free, very straightforward, simple unit there. And as I mentioned, has the real-time monitoring capabilities with 4 to 20 milliamp or Modbus signals coming back to a control system that you can monitor. Applications, a lot of different ones. Beverage production, water lines is a big one, distribution systems, and then some other ones, RO systems, paper mills, cooling towers. So anything that you're running a liquid process thin pipeline type of application, and has the chance for biofilm growth that you want to monitor it. It's a good application for. Next up is a new COP parts basket. So we're calling this the URWB-8-12 COP basket. It is tank bottom non-stacking, so you can see there on the left there, it's just a simple wire mesh basket. Spacing is a little less than a 1/4 inch, 0.22 inch spacing. It is 316 stainless steel round bar construction. Best fit is for small parts, so it is roughly a 5-gallon bucket size. And the nice thing about this is that if you are in the food and beverage industry and you're doing COP parts cleaning, a lot of times you're doing your chemical wash step within the COP, and then you are either maybe manually rinsing or chemically sanitizing in a sink or a tub or a basin or with a spray wand after that. You can fill up this bucket with that rinse water or that sanitized chemical, and then dip your parts into it. So that's a nice application that bucket fits within this new COP basket. It does have some legs that flip out, so that image on the right there, you can see it's kind of drip drying. Those legs flip out, and you can sit on top of a basket and dry out your parts as well too. And then, as I mentioned, applications definitely can be used with the COP parts washers of Sani-Matic. It does fit within all 4 of our COP parts washer models, with or without cover. So some of our larger ones you can't use with some of our smaller baskets, but this one is sized so that any of our standard COPs, it fits within it with or without a cover. You can see there the dimensions, roughly 10 inches diameter, a little over 1 foot high, and then with the handle it goes up to 17 inches. So good for COPs or just manual open plant cleaning. If you need a place to organize your small parts, it's great for that. Next up is a new option for our existing Y strainer. So we are calling this the hammer handle. If you have had the issue of a sticky elastomer gasket, so put on a tri-clamp gasket, you need to take off that process connection and unclamped it, and it basically sticks there. You try to pull it off and it doesn't come off, that sticky EPDM typically gasket. If you've had that with temperature cycling or chemical usage, whatever it is, this is probably a good solution for you. So instead of taking like a screwdriver and trying to pry it out, this one has a nice hammer handle on it, and I actually have it here, so I'll show you here, and we have a video here I'll show in a second too. But we basically are adding what we call the hammer handle onto our existing strainer, so the element stays the same, and then once you're ready to remove that element, you can just pull that straight out, and that impact force pulls right out and unlodges or dislodges that gasket out of the process line too. So let's watch the video because that's a good visualization. So if you had that issue before, hopefully that resonated with you. The hammer handle option is found within the model key of the Y strainer. So if you're speccing out a new Y strainer, you're going to see it as H250. So right now we do offer it with our 1/4 inch perforated as a standard. We can also sell that loose ship too. So if you go to the accessory section and you're looking at the element section, you're going to see the hammer handle as well. If you want to retrofit a unit that you have out in the field, it could fit up with any existing Y strainer that we have. And as I mentioned, right now we just have it with a 1/4 inch perf. We can customize that. So if you like the option and want to do it with, say, a wedge wire on the Y strainer, or even some of our other angle line strainers or other strainer products that we have, just give us a shout and we can look at adding it for you as a custom item. Next up, we have a new, brand new strainer product under our chill guard strainer brand of product. So we're calling it our ultra capacity angle line chill guard strainer. It's a very large, hence the ultra capacity, but 8-inch body strainer, specifically engineered, designed for liquid cooled applications. So under our chill guard strainer brand. Advantages for this one, It is, like I said, maximum flow and minimal pressure drop in a relatively small footprint. So maintains the sanitary tri-clamp connections, but there's a little bit of industrial design on the insides. So it is more for that liquid cool applications. You can see the application list down there. We're seeing these a lot in data centers, industrial cooling systems, any other HVAC systems, process cooling applications too. So propylene glycol, water mixtures, any other cooling, liquid cooling mixtures does a great job. Straining down to 25 micron and 50 micron are standard offerings. We can customize that, but that's an 001 and 002 wedge wire. It is a standard product, but we can do some customizations on it. For example, differential ports, other things like that too. So if you have a need for a liquid cool application, we have other sizes as well, but this is our newest and standard 8-inch ultra capacity chill guard strainer. Simple ad, but something we hope is pretty useful. So as you're browsing our catalog, sometimes you might not know about our resources page on our website that has all of our IOM manuals. So we wanted to just bring those to the forefront on the component side as well. So now when you're browsing through either a print version or a digital version, you can either QR code scan this with your phone if you got the printout, or it's a clickable link on the digital version, and any of our sections that has on the supporting IOM manual, you'll be taken right to that. So in this case, the HALB strainer, you can see here it's at the front, and if you click on that or scan it, it's going to take you over to the latest and greatest IOM manual that we have. So just hopefully a quick reference guide for you, easier access to our IOM manuals. Couple different option ads to throughout the catalog, not just to one product, but to a couple different ones. Passivation is one. So we have had the passivation option for, I believe, our static spray balls and a couple other products, but we wanted to bring that across all of our strainer products and our spray device products. So you should see that service at the end of a section. So if you're looking at, for example, angle line strainers, you'll go back at the end and see a services table, and you'll see passivation. In this case, we have two different line items because there's different pricing for the angle line strainer and then the high capacity strainer as well too. So passivation, if you're not familiar with it, improves the corrosion resistance of the stainless steel. So great option in the sanitary world. Sometimes people are doing passivation as part of a new project installation, so they don't need that or don't want that. But if you want to have that, we are happy to add that as well too. So you're able to add that to any of our strainer sections as listed. The other one addition too is we always talk about strainers and pressure drop. And on some of our multi-angle line strainers, including the basket strainer that you see there, we've had the option to add the differential pressure kits. So basically before and after the strainer, you could put in a T with a tri-clamp, either pressure gauge or pressure transmitter before and after the strainer. So as shown there, you see it on a multi-basket strainer. So what this allows you to do is monitor the pressure drop across there. So if you're showing 100 PSI on one side and 90 PSI on the other, you have a 10 PSI pressure drop. So we just have added this kit, so 1.5 through 4-inch connections to all of our strainer sections. So if you have a strainer and you want an easy way to add the gauge or pressure transmitter differential monitoring between those, you can add those pressure kits or pressure transmitter kits or pressure gauge kits to your strainer order as well. So as I mentioned, that helps to know when the strainer is clogged. So when you're first fire up the strainer and you are flowing your water, your process, whatever you're flowing through, you're going to see a certain pressure drop. We call that a clean pressure drop. Sometimes it might be 1 PSI, it might be 5 PSI, depending on your flow rate and your viscosity of your product. Over time, when that starts to creep up and you see that visually going 6, 7, 8 PSI over your clean pressure drop, that's when you know that your strainer is clogged and you want to stop your process and clear it out. On the hygienic component side, we did just add some dimensional information for our static spray balls. So previous catalog versions on these spherical ball type, we just had our slip collar connection. So that on the top left, we get a lot of inquiries for the butt weld, flare, tri-clamp, half coupling, and pipe nipple connection styles here. So we did go through and add all of the dimensional information for those. So that is now found in the catalog. And then if you're looking for dimensional information, you can grab all of that here. The slip collar for the tangential and the bubble type are also still available too. So if you're looking at bubble type spray or tangential type spray. That information is in here as well too. Just a quick walkthrough of the digital catalog if you have not seen it. So the link, as I mentioned, is in the handout. You can get to it a bunch of different ways. If you search our website, it's going to be found a lot of different places, or just search up Hygienic Component Solutions Catalog and you'll find it pretty easily. So the digital version has a bunch of different tools here. You can scroll through the thumbnails pretty easy and find something quick. If you want to hide that, you can do so. If you're ever looking for something and want a quote or pricing or have questions, on the top right here is request a quote. So I'll bring you to our contact us page, and then we can help you out with either pricing, delivery, or technical information. On the catalog itself, a couple of things here on the bottom. You can share, print, download the whole catalog. So if you do want an offline PDF version, you can do that here. You can also download or print or share certain pages too. So if you're just looking at, for example, underline strainer section or a biofilm sensors section, you can do that here as well. Search function is pretty powerful, pretty nice up the top. So like any search function, if I'm looking for my biofilm sensor, I can come over here and jump right to it and then close that out. And then I did mention too, so we push people towards the digital version because we do things like embedded videos. So for example, on the biofilm sensor, we do have a product video in here that's 4 minutes, so I won't walk through the whole thing. But as you're going through and looking at all the different products, if we do have any retrofit videos, product informational videos, things to help support the product, it's going to be found within the catalog, so a nice way to do that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, things like the IOM manuals are clickable links here, so you can jump over to that. I'll just go to one of the sections. Let's go to the Made Trap Strainer section. So just to show people how our catalog's laid out, if you're not familiar, if you're looking at an underline strainer, you're going to find a lot of technical information up front. If you're expecting a new strainer, the model number key is going to be the place to go. So as you go through here, you build up your different element types, connection sizes, things like that. And then after that, you're going to find pressure drop information, and then a lot of different replacement part information as well too. So if you're ever looking for a body or a clip or a gasket, you'll be finding that in here as well. And obviously there's a lot of different element types and sizes here. So there's a big table of information with each of these sections. After replacement parts, if there's any accessories, we're going to list them there. So for example, on the underline strainers, the MicroPerf would be considered an accessory because you can add it on to the configured model or get it loose ship. We do have a removal tool with that to make the removal a little bit easier. And then things like mesh overlays and filter tubes and the differential pressure kits, caps, ID tags, and then some of the services too are going to be found at the end there. So configured model key is done where you're starting for something new, replacement parts for any replacements, and then the accessories place is a good check to add anything that you might want. So that is the end. A couple links here at the end if you did grab the PDF. So the catalog link is here. If you do want to jump straight to our IOM manuals website section, that is here as well. And then we do have included a email. So any RFQs, inquiries can go to our SMI orders email address. So if you click that, email will pop up and we'll go straight to that too. And that is the end of the presentation. So we have about 15 minutes for questions if there are any. If there are not, that's fine too. But let me get to the questions here and we'll tackle them. One question came out on the max pressure drop values of all chill guard underline strainers to aid product selection. So I'll contact you on that one. We have, in addition to the ultra capacity 8-inch chill guard that we showed there, we do have a lot of different 4-inch and 6-inch ones we're offering too. So I want to make sure that you're grabbing the necessary information for that. So I will reach out to that question asker and respond with that. The dimensions, someone was asking also for the dimensions of the chill guard strainer, so I will make sure to send that out. We do not have the overalls in the catalog. We do have some pullout information, and I can send you that separately as well too. Another question came in on the 8-inch underline strainer. Is that 3A rated? That is not. So that one is specifically for that industrial liquid cooling application. The wedge wire construction and some of the internal finishes would not make that 3A. If you are looking for a 3A version of some of our strainers, the basket strainer is a larger body strainer that's a good option for 3A applications. A couple of questions on the digital recorder. Just is it a new item? We've had it out now for a couple of years now. I think we're at maybe year 3 on the digital process recorder. So it's been out for a while. We do have a lot of installations out there. The digital process recorder, like I mentioned, it basically, if you have a paper chart recorder, it can replace that with electronic cloud-based recording. Applications that we have it, if you're getting a COP parts washer from us, we have that as an option. So it's a great addition to COP parts washers. We also retrofit it to some CIP applications. So if you have a CIP that you've built or that Sani-Matic hasn't supplied, we have a version of the DPR called DPR reports. So instead of just 24 hours of continuous temperature flow data, you can actually take a running signal from a CIP system, take the temperature, conductivity, flow, and then that gets compiled in nice reports that you can review as well too. We do have it on some process applications as well too. There was one question on if the DPR is FDA approved. So a couple things on that. There's some PMO has a section on electronic records. We've reviewed the DPR against that and are compliant there. We do not have the pasteurized milk Memorandum B ordinance approved, so it's not for use for milk pasteurization, although we've used it on egg pasteurization and some other process areas too. So it does meet, if you're looking at HACCP, FSMA HACCP data reporting, it does check the box on that, hey, I need to record my data and make sure it's available for, say, an audit. All right, I think that looks like it's it on the questions. So a couple of questions that were specific on some of the dimensional information, I'll reach out to those people and send that information. Otherwise, thanks again for joining, and you'll get a copy of this, as I mentioned, in a couple hours, and if you need to share it, feel free to do so. Otherwise, on our webinar page, it'll be up in a couple weeks or so. Again, thanks for joining. Appreciate your time, and have a good Tuesday.